The rain fell with an almost musical rhythm, tapping against the rusted tin roof of a small auto repair shop on the edge of town. Inside, oil-stained hands moved with quiet precision beneath the hood of a battered old pickup. The mechanic, Jamal, a humble man in his early 30s, wiped sweat from his brow with the back of his sleeve, unaware that his life was about to change forever. Jamal had lived a life of quiet struggle. He wasn't wealthy, nor was he well known. His small garage, passed down by his late father, barely brought in enough to cover bills and groceries. But he was rich in something many overlooked: kindness. He'd fix cars for free when someone couldn't pay, offer food to the homeless from his modest lunchbox, and always greeted the world with a warm smile, even when it didn't smile back. On this particular day, as the storm continued to rage, Jamal glanced out toward the bus stop across the street. He saw her, soaked, trembling, and clutching a small suitcase. She was still in her bridal gown, now mud-streaked, and clinging to her like a memory she wanted to shed. Her mascara had run down her cheeks like a trail of broken dreams. Jamal put down his tools and stepped into the rain. He didn't ask why. He simply offered her shelter. Inside the garage, he handed her a towel and offered her the only seat he had, a cushioned stool beside a coffee-stained workbench. Her name was Sarah. Her voice cracked as she spoke, but she eventually revealed the truth: she had been left at the altar. Her fiancé had called off the wedding an hour before the ceremony, claiming he couldn't spend his life with someone who had too many scars from a difficult past, emotional wounds she had shared with him in confidence. Her parents, humiliated by the cancelled wedding, had blamed her. "You're too damaged to love," her mother had said coldly before storming off. With nowhere to go and no one to turn to, Sarah had wandered until she found herself at the bus stop. Jamal listened quietly, never interrupting. When she finished, he simply nodded and said, "You're safe here." The storm outside mirrored the turmoil in Sarah's heart, but for the first time that day, she felt warmth, not from a fireplace or a heated room, but from a soul that expected nothing in return. That night, Jamal cooked dinner, a humble meal of lentils and rice, and gave her his small bed, choosing to sleep on the garage floor. Over the next few days, Sarah helped around the garage, sweeping floors, organizing tools, and laughing for the first time in what felt like years. Jamal never once looked at her with pity. He saw strength where others saw fragility. He saw resilience where others saw damage. Weeks passed. Sarah began to rebuild her spirit in that garage. Jamal encouraged her to apply for a job at a nearby bookstore. She got it. With her first paycheck, she bought curtains for the garage's small window and a second-hand couch for Jamal to sleep on. Slowly, their lives began to intertwine. Not out of need, but out of respect, shared values, and growing affection. One quiet evening, as they sat watching the sun dip below the horizon from the garage rooftop, Sarah spoke. "Why have you been so kind to me?" she asked. Jamal smiled. "Because someone once told me that kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can change everything." He told her about his mother, who had once taken in a homeless teenage boy during a harsh winter. That boy had grown up to become a doctor who later saved her life. "You never know who someone can become if you just believe in them," he said. Sarah's eyes welled with tears, not from sadness, but from the realization that she was finally seen, truly seen. Months turned into a year. Jamal's garage flourished. Word had spread about the kind mechanic and the woman who brought light into his life. They weren't rich in money, but their hearts were full. On a spring morning, exactly 1 year from the day she stood at the bus stop in a rain-soaked gown, Jamal knelt on one knee inside the garage. He held out a simple ring, one he had bought by saving every extra penny for months. "I saw what he never could," Jamal said, voice steady. "I saw the fire in your soul, the strength in your silence, and the beauty in your scars. Will you build a life with me, not perfect, but real?" Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks as she nodded. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times, yes. They married not in a grand hall, but right there in the garage, surrounded by neighbors, friends, and even customers who had become family. The same tin roof that once echoed with rain now rang with laughter and love. Their story became one shared in whispers and social media posts, touching hearts around the world. But to Jamal and Sarah, it was never about attention. It was about healing. About choosing hope when life gives you heartbreak. A poor mechanic had taken in a rejected bride, not out of obligation, but out of pure compassion. In doing so, he saw what her fiancé never could, the priceless worth of a soul that had known pain, yet chose love anyway. And in that humble garage, two broken hearts found home. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories aren't written in castles or penthouses, they're written in oil-stained garages, under leaky tin roofs, between two people who simply choose to be kind. The world needs more Jamals. More hearts willing to love without judgment. More eyes that see past the surface. More hands that lift others up without asking what they'll get in return. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And that makes all the difference.